Today's topic is how can you invest in creative content for your business? Blue Slate Films will break down everything you need to know about video approach for effective marketing and the tools you need to get ahead of the competition. Natalia and Emery both run Blue Slate Films, a certified LGBTBE female-run full-service content creation company in New York. So that's my presentation piece. And with that, let me present it to Natalia and Emery to take it away and give us a fabulous presentation. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So great to be here. And we're really excited to share some of this information with you. Just, we'll go into a little bit about us, but we want to just start with a brief overview. So we can jump right into the presentation.
Let me share my screen.
So today we're going to be talking about how to use video to grow your business. And a lot of you know videos everywhere. We're on social media, it's on websites, it's all over the place. And we want to help you get ahead by using video in your business.
And there's a lot of different types of video. So we're going to break down social video, more professional video pieces, what you can do on your own, what you can sort of, get some assistance with. So we'll get right into it. Digital video is obviously growing in the US. You can see this graph. The viewership has just skyrocketed in the past 4 years. And there's now over 20 million new digital video viewers. And that's nearly 250 million people who are viewing and consuming content every single day.
So we have a question for you, and we want to know who's already using video in their business for marketing. Whether you have a YouTube channel, you're on social media, you've made a video for your website, just by dropping it in the chat.
Ooh, where's the chat?
I think we lost our presentation here. Oops.
It's still showing up for us.
Okay, I was just trying to go to the chat to see what people are saying. All right.
That's sometimes hard. I'll check that out for you. Yeah.
Perfect. So I see some people are using it, maybe not everyone. So let me get back to the presentation. All right, so here are some reasons why people are saying they're not using video marketing. A lot of people don't know where to start. They don't have enough time to actually go out there and create content, or they can't convince the decision makers in their companies to invest in video, or maybe the cost of video when hiring a video partner can be a little too high. And sometimes you don't feel like video content is necessary, or you're not sure you're going to get a good return of your investment for creating video content. We hear these things all the time. And, if any of these resonate with you, you're definitely not alone.
So
I guess
we'd like to know, who is relating to some of these thoughts. If we could just, Jerry, if you want to kind of filter the chat for us and let us know what people are saying so we can kind of stay on.
Yeah, I can do that.
Not yet, we do.
And if people want to just put a reaction button, you can use that as well, which is on the bottom. Just say who uses or how you are with that. That's another option to connect with everybody.
I see not yet, but soon, which I'm very glad to see, because after today, I think it will be a little bit easier to get started.
All right. So, this is just like a little bit about us.
Yeah, so we're here to help you. Obviously we've been doing video production for several years now. And, we've seen the changes in the last 5 years or so. So we're happy to show you how to optimize your content for different platforms and help you come up with ideas and teach you the best practices when you're shooting on your own with your phone, for example.
And also, just a small note on that, because of the pandemic, there has been, obviously we're going back to normal now, but the increase in online viewership kind of skyrocketed with that. And all of the businesses that didn't have all this foot traffic coming in into their, brick and mortar locations, they turned into video and didn't lose their audience and all of that. So, the past few years, video has just skyrocketed. Jerry said a little bit about us. This is, we can send the presentation to you, but we don't need to linger on that.
Here are some stills from some of our work. We do a lot of projects for TV, for Lifetime, the History Channel, and we also do videos for small businesses, nonprofits. We kind of do a wide range of things here.
All right, so has anyone heard of TikTok?
Probably.
Is
Hopefully.
Let me see. I can't pull up the chat.
It's okay.
Well, so TikTok has rapidly emerged as one of the most popular social media platforms in recent years, and they have a user base of over 1 billion. Now, there's a little bit of controversy currently about whether it's going to be banned or not, but we can't deny the fact that it's a very, very big player in today's video consumption, video creation, and companies should not really look away. Look away from using it. And with the rise of TikTok came the rise of short form video content. All these other platforms started kind of copying that, and we can see a timeline in the next slide. So in early 2020, TikTok exploded in popularity. In August 2020, Instagram launched Reels, which is a competitor to TikTok, and it uses the same idea of behind the algorithm and the vertical video. In September 2020, YouTube launched YouTube Shorts, and they invested a lot of capital into bringing creators to that platform. November 2020, Snapchat launched its Spotlight feature, which is also, very similar to these. January 2023, Twitter. Now, this is not video, but they adopted a similar algorithm timeline where it recommends tweets on topics that users have previously engaged with. So it basically shows you more of what you've already consumed. March 2023, recently, Spotify redesigned their homepage and added a TikTok-like video feed on this music and podcast platform. And now Amazon is starting to roll out a scrollable feed, which is called Inspire, and it's going to be coming into the US. And it's basically a copycat of TikTok with products that the retailer might be interested in. So we kind of see all these big players, these multi-billion-dollar companies investing in short-form video content. Now, do we have any idea why all these companies are doing that? Let me see. They're in the news now. Okay, US wants to buy them. Ban them. So why do you think all these big companies are really investing so much capital into this short form content? The faster way, shorter and shorter attention spans. Yes, it's the trend. Mm-hmm. So this is all true, but also these companies, they have our data. So they know what the consumers are leaning towards. It is the trend. It is the current trend of the way that the audience is reacting to these. So if all these multi-billion platforms are investing in this, they probably know something that we don't, and we shouldn't really ignore that. So how can you invest in content creation for your business? There's a few different ways that you can go about that. You can, first of all, start creating content yourself. You can hire a production company to create something more polished. But I would say it all really depends on your budget. If your budget is limited, we would not really suggest going straight for that very highly polished video that we would produce for you. it depends on what your needs are at the moment. If the budget is limited, we would really suggest you go out and create content on your own. So we're going to give you some tools that you can use to kind of make that process easier and get a head start.
So we're going to be starting with social media, since that's what we've been discussing. That's what people are on. That's where you can find consumers, an audience. And we're going to give you some tips how to do that on your own, how to create this content on your own. So first, we've already discussed a little bit, get to know the major players in social media. We have TikTok, of course, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. There are other platforms, but these are the ones we'll be focusing on today. Okay, how many people have business accounts, not personal accounts, on one or more of these platforms? I see some hands.
Oh, I do.
That's great. I'm very pleased that there are people out there.
Yes. Not yet. Starting
Okay.
to look at. Well, hopefully after today, you'll go sign up.
You'll be convinced.
We do. Awesome.
Great.
So now we saw how many people have accounts, but how many people actually post consistently? And by consistently, we mean more than 5 pieces of content per week.
Which we're all guilty of not always doing. Sometimes you're busy, you have actual work to do, but who is doing that consistently right now?
All right, so not that many people. So we saw that a lot of people have accounts, so I'm guessing they're on there consuming this content, but then not so many people are actually putting out that content. So there's still a gap in the demand and supply of this content, even though we might think that these platforms are very saturated. All right. I mean, getting started, obviously, if you don't have an account, set up your account. You just need to be consistent about the way you present your brand.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. These are kind of the steps that we'll be going through today. So setting up your profiles, we won't go into the extreme detail of it. If you have questions on how to sign up, let us know.
You can email us. We'll send you the presentation with the exact steps.
Yes.
Whoops. All right. So this is how to set up your profile.
And so here we're talking about optimizing your profiles for each platform. And if you see some of these examples here, these creators have made it clear, what they are selling or offering. You can kind of get an idea of their brand identity just from the first couple of, pictures here. And you can see in the bio, it's very clear about who these people are and what communities they're engaging with. So yeah, just take a few seconds to kind of look at these different examples that we have here.
And you can see the bios, basically, right now, the trend is to use some emojis in your bio, use some key phrases, so that when someone lands on the profile, they immediately know what you're about, some of your values and all of that.
And this is just for Instagram, these examples. The same follows for TikTok. It's a little bit different on each platform. Obviously, some platforms are more formal like LinkedIn, but definitely the trend on Instagram and TikTok is to have a little fun with it, be clear about who you are, and, just start getting your stuff out there.
All right.
So this is talking a little bit about the brand identity, and ways to be consistent about that brand identity is to use the same color scheme, fonts, a consistent tone and voice in the content that you're posting. And it's really important to stay true to who you are and be authentic. Don't try to be someone else. If let's say you're a business that's selling, a juice, like a nutritionist juice, you're going to stay true to the voice of that brand. And maybe if it's fun, you have these different colors going on. There's a lot of different ways to set yourself apart and to be consistent along each platform.
Yeah, and basically the whole point of producing this content, whether it's the more highly produced content or the content that you put out yourself is to get a hold of the narrative and be in charge of how your company presents. So if you're out there putting content that characterizes your company, that shows, what you stand for, your values, all those things, then you are in control of how your business appears to other people.
So this is very important. Obviously, most of you have businesses, you're trying to sell a product or a service, but the main thing on social media is to not sell, but to provide value. Because you all notice when you're scrolling through TikTok or Instagram,
or even LinkedIn
or Facebook, there's so many ads now that as soon as you see something that looks really polished and, fancy, and you just don't want to watch it. You're being targeted and you skip past it. Also because what is that doing for you? Let's say it's an ad for sneakers, you probably don't want to buy anything extra. Like, I feel for me, I am good with what I have. So I skip right past all that. And what do you actually linger on? What posts are you actually stopping on? That's what we want to talk about.
Yeah, it's normally posts that provide some value to the audience. So on LinkedIn, for example, it's not all my achievement, this, I got this new job. It's all about me. Those posts could do well because sometimes they have engagement, people congratulate, but they don't actually provide value to the audience. And what you want to do is create that community, create that audience that will then trust you. And if in the future they require your services or something like that, they already have this connection with you. They already have the relationship and the trust because you've been educating them, empowering them, entertaining them, and engaging with the audience and empathizing as well.
So we're going to go through a few different examples in these different categories. So educate, a lot of you have amazing knowledge, let's say you're a lawyer or you're a life coach. There's so much information, I'm sure, that you've studied and given to clients, but you have to give a little to get a little. So I know you may be worried about sharing too much of your expertise online, but it's good to, offer a little bit of something and hope that someone will want more after they see that.
Yeah, for example, if you're a website designer and you have a plugin that you sell, you can create a tutorial of how to do it yourself, and it can be complicated, but you're actually giving them that knowledge for free. And you can put in the description, well, if you actually want the shortcut, here's how to get to it. You can hire me, you can buy my plugin. So it's not necessarily giving out the information for free, but it's like Emery said, it's creating that give and take relationship. Because when you're just selling things, you seem like a salesperson, and not everyone, has complete trust with that.
Yeah.
So also empowering, you could create general business advice or just, foster that community online as well. Entertainment. So there are also some of the trends on these platforms. Depending on what tone you want to have, you could do some of them. It kind of shows that, you're a real person. You're not all like work. And, some people might like that.
Mm-hmm. And trends, it doesn't mean you have to be dancing on TikTok. It's really a lot more simple than that. There's ways to find different sounds, and you can just, you don't have to do crazy dancing.
Yeah,
don't worry.
We don't dance.
But humor is encouraged.
Yeah, so engaging. Normally, when you start creating this content, some audience is going to gather and view that content, whether it's big or small. They usually can ask questions in the comments. They have, they interact with and engage with that content. So this lets you create more content because you can reply to those questions if you want. So once you get started, then it's easier to keep on doing it.
And you can engage with other people on those platforms, other businesses too. Let's say someone posts something asking for advice. You can stitch that video and give your take on it.
Yeah, and then, it's really important to also share your story, share your mission. There's a big audience out there, and there are people who share those values and share these missions. So it's really important to, self-identify who you are, what you stand for, and you'll see there's many people out there who will want to support that. So this is one of our clients. She's a lawyer. She's awesome. She's out on Long Island. And we started creating reels and TikTok for her over a year ago. And her reels, short form videos consistently get hundreds and even thousands of views. And we're not really going for hitting super viral. We're consistently getting, a couple hundred views, 1,000 views. Some of the videos have 10,000 views, but it's not something that has 1 million views. But already her reach has increased by 500%. She has seen that a lot of people are coming into her business and saying, I saw you on TikTok, I saw you on Instagram. And her business has grown through that. So social media is not only succeeding to go viral, you can still have that smaller community and see results with your business.
So I can go through a couple of the examples here, just to give some context. She does a variety of posts. So she does some fun posts and some more serious. The first one is speaking about MCAs, and I don't know, some of you may know about that. That's very popular for her. So she makes a lot of content around that, and she's seen a lot of results, people coming to her for that, clients. Then the second one is a trend. So this is using a trending sound. Again, it's not dancing, but it's just a little fun post using her dogs. She loves her dogs. So the next one is about spring cleaning your finances. So you can get really creative with these, and it can be a little bit more fun sharing this information.
Yeah, and also, if you're featured in an article, or if you want to comment on one of those articles, these platforms now have an effect called green screen, where you can put something behind you and kind of comment on that. So she was talking about inflation, and she put that behind her. Obviously, you see it's not the best cut out green screen, but for these platforms, it doesn't really matter. So you just want to seem approachable, like what you're talking about, trustworthy, and just keep on putting content out there. So here are some inside examples. Those are from our accounts, but you can see that these reels not only have plays, views, but they also have a lot of saves. They also have a lot of sends, so people sending them to each other. This creates engagement and shows the algorithm that this content is worthwhile, and it propagates it to more people. So the key is getting content that also people can engage with. So for example, with the lawyer that we work with, people ask her questions, or people save it for later. So that tells the algorithm that people want to see this content, and then it shares it with more people. These happen to be funny videos that we did, so they're not very serious, but we just wanted to show, the kind of engagement that you can get.
Yeah, and it's very important when posting these to know the different platforms that you're on and know the expectations of people when they're watching your content. So we'll go into the details of each specific platform just a little bit, and I will just give a disclaimer. This changes a lot, and
this is the most current.
This is what we're looking at right now, but it could always change later on. So keep that in mind.
But also, we're going to talk about the differences in the platforms, but this doesn't mean that you can cross-propagate the content. But you just need to take into consideration what works best for each platform. So TikTok, we'll just quickly go through these. There's a lot of trending sounds. So if a sound is trending, you can use that and it'll show it to more people. Like we mentioned, the green screen feature.
Yeah, and also on TikTok, it's great to use a variety of backgrounds and actually a lot of cuts, which is not what you would expect, rather than just, you know, holding your phone and speaking to it for a minute, which you can totally do. It's more fun on TikTok. People get more engaged when it's cutting between different sentences, so you can get creative with that. And one more thing.
Captions.
Yeah, and captions are super important these days. Of course, we want content to be accessible to everybody, but also so the people who are watching without sound would be able to know what you're talking about. In general, it's always a good idea. And you can do that within the platform or on other platforms if it's easier for you to do it that way.
And also just to know when it's within the platform, it helps with the SEO of the video. So it gets those keywords that are recognizable to the platform, and then it shows it to more people that are interested in that. LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, you know, there's still a big opportunity with LinkedIn just because a lot of the content on LinkedIn is still a little boring. So it hasn't really transferred over, you know, the trends with video, having a more content creation outlook rather than a sales outlook. But because of that, there's a big opportunity to provide valuable content for your audiences. And I just wanted to say that LinkedIn is especially important because it has a similar algorithm to TikTok. So as you've seen, if you've been scrolling on LinkedIn, if one of your connections likes something or comments on something, it shows up for their connections too. So when people engage with your content, it automatically shows it to a greater pool of people. So there's still a big opportunity with LinkedIn. Instagram is very similar to TikTok with the vertical video. They're really pushing that, but there's still an opportunity with photos.
The carousel feature has become very popular. So that's when you post several photos in a row and people will swipe through it, which is great because you're keeping them engaged. Some people also use that for graphics or for tweets. If you're very active on Twitter, that's a good way to share it with your audience on Instagram.
So Facebook, of course, again, shareable content that goes across all platforms. Facebook is now also pushing Reels. So different than Instagram Reels on Facebook. There's a big audience on Facebook. It skews a little older, but there's still a great opportunity there. Again, vertical video or 4x5. Just because here, I'll just show you live. For example, this is an ad. I don't know if you can see, but if it was landscape, it would only take part of the screen. But when it's 4x5 or even vertical, it takes up a bigger chunk of the screen. So it has less distractions with the post before and after. YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is great for long form content. It's also a great place for education. I'm sure a lot of you have Googled something and been brought to a YouTube video to help you figure it out, especially when it comes to websites or technical things. So that's a great opportunity if you do something like that. There's also YouTube Shorts now, which is kind of a copycat of TikTok, of these other platforms, but it is an opportunity. You can cut down your longer YouTube videos, make little clips, get more views that way, and new subscribers as well.
So some content creation tips, just to make the process easier for you, because all these platforms, all these different things to consider, it might seem a little daunting. So here are some tips. You can batch create content. That's something that's really popular. So you can sit down, you say, for these next 3 hours, I'm going to create these pieces of content and then post them later on throughout the month. That's how we also work with some clients, like the lawyer we presented. We meet with her once every 3 months, do like 4 or 5 hours of content creation, and then we have that for later in the year. You can write out scripts, talking points, if that helps you. You can use other people to keep your content interesting.
Yeah, and designate a space for filming. It's difficult sometimes, let's say in your house or your apartment, there's not a lot of space for things, and maybe it's easier just to set aside a little corner where you can film and go right back to it. Maybe get a little ring light, or maybe it's by a window and you can just set up right there and work for a couple hours on that.
So some technical tips. We're going to use iPhones just because we own iPhones. So it's very important for the video to shoot in higher resolution. Right up at the top, you can change the resolution from HD to 4K. That's important to do because, everyone pretty much has high resolution video. So you don't want yours to slack behind.
Yeah, and for that, it's best to use the frame rates 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second. That's what these platforms are preferring. They're also a little bit more cinematic. I'd say try to stick to that if you can. Also very important to focus on the lighting. That will make all the difference, whether it's HD, 4K, or whatever it is. You want to make sure that you're well lit, that the footage is properly exposed. Don't shoot in a dark corner, because the quality will be worse, first of all.
So the best way to go about that is if there's a window in your space, you can kind of go next to the window and face it rather than have it behind you, because then your face is clearly lit. There's minimal shadows, and everyone just looks the best with that kind of lighting. If you want to take it a step further, you can get a tripod, or just simple handheld works. And also when you have that intimacy of talking to the phone, sometimes you connect to the audience a little better than having a more formal setup.
But alternatively, let's say, for example, with Leslie, the lawyer that we work with, we can film with the phone and have the back camera, which is higher quality as well, to follow her around. And we like to keep a little movement with that too, so it's not so rigid. It's a good idea to do that.
So this was all like the social media stuff you can do on your own. Now we're going to go over to professional photo and video. So why and when to invest in professional photo and video? If you want a higher quality, if it's an ad that goes on TV, if you're running an ad on social media or Facebook, or if you want to save time and be efficient and don't really want to put in so much work.
And also, if you want something that's going to last longer, let's say you have a speech or a conference or a panel that you want recorded, and you want that in high quality, you want to make sure that the sound is good, that you can hear what people are saying, that you could see people's faces clearly. That's a good opportunity to capture that.
Yeah, so, when you hire professional videographers, it's great, so that you maximize your budget, to just know your goals and be clear about your goals with the partner that you hire, whether it's developing online presence, reaching a target audience, generating leads, solving a problem. It's really important to be straightforward. And then you can also, if you have your goals set, you can also then measure whether or not there was a return on investment. So there's several types of professional video. You can do like a business profile where it can live on your homepage. It's a great way for prospective clients to kind of get an inside look on your company in a more formal way than social media. You can do a meet the team. Those are very popular too. And testimonials. So if you have some success stories, some clients that can speak very highly of you, sometimes it's nice to add those testimonials on your website.
Yeah, and then event videos, sort of like I was saying, with conferences, or if you have a party or a gathering that you want to capture, that's a great opportunity. Also interviews, let's say you have an interview with the CEO, or even an announcement. For example, we've done that with a few companies when they're doing an announcement to send out to all of their employees. You can also do sort of a day in the life type video. That's great for Facebook ads, especially, for example, we do this for nonprofits a lot of the time, and we feature care workers and people who are really, you know, working hard to save people's lives, to change people's lives. That's a great opportunity there.
Yeah, there's many different types of content. And then, like we said, whether it's the content that you created yourself, content that lives on YouTube, content that is professionally made, you can always adapt it across the platforms. You can cut it down, you can reformat it, add captions. There's a lot that can be done from one piece of content. Whether it's like along YouTube, you can cut it down and then have 10 shorter videos to put out. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that you can do. Another thing, you know, this presentation is mostly about about video, but we can't ignore photography because it's really important to stand out, have great shots, look your best. And in that way, on the website, you know, it can look polished, elevated, and also personal because it's not stock photos. It's like the pictures of your team. So I think photography is also very important.
So the key takeaways of this presentation, I'm sure you have many of your own, but just get out there, start posting something. You might make a mistake, but who cares? At least you're out there doing it. It kind of is difficult at times, but it's worth putting yourself out there and reaching new people, and you'll learn along the way as well.
Yeah, and the first videos don't have to be perfect. As you do it more, you're going to refine your technique, refine how you do it. And then, you know, you're going to hopefully start seeing results if you do it consistently. If you post once every month, obviously those results are not going to be the same as posting consistently. So consistency is key for this.
The best camera you have, the best camera is the one you have. And that's, you know, if you have a phone or whatever it may be, just start filming. And, you know, the expectation isn't that you need to have a huge professional camera for things. That's just, the world has changed. And
yeah,
just
and this is very powerful. You can take great pictures, you can take great videos, and just go out and do it.
Another thing to remember, that authenticity is key, and you have to stay true to yourself and your business and the values. And that it's only good to invest in professional photo and video when you're ready, when you have a need for it, when you have the budget for it, because, you know, it makes a difference investing, let's say, $1,000 for a video versus $5,000 versus $10,000. You have to see what's right for you.
Yeah, and you know, you just need to know, because you know your company best. If you have a limited budget, we would highly suggest you try to do it yourself, try to put yourself out there. And we are certain that with consistency, you will see results. Let's see, do we have any questions?
I have one quick question that popped in. You said HD and 4K. If you could just sort of explain what's the difference and why you would choose one over the other.
So high definition used to be the standard, but 4K is now the standard. It's a bigger frame, it's a higher quality, so the image is bigger. And how we can do that is on the camera app.
On the iPhone.
Well, yeah, I have the iPhone, so that's what I'm going to show. If you scroll to video, on the top right corner, you can see it either says 4K 24, HD 30, or 4K 30. And you kind of just tap that
To switch to different settings.
Like you just tap that and it changes. And if that's not enabled, you can go into the settings. And you can also look this up depending on what phone you have. I'm sure there's on Google, you know, how to turn on 4K, how to shoot with a higher resolution for the specific phone that you have.
Other questions from the group?
Best, easiest video editing software, taking video easy. All right, so the best and easiest is probably iMovie. If you have a Mac, it's very straightforward, it's free. On the phone now, you can also edit videos. There's CapCut, there's other apps, you know, if you put video editor on the app, but on the computer, there's a very powerful, totally free software called DaVinci Resolve. But that's a little more advanced. But Emery creates educational tutorials on YouTube that teach editing for beginners. It's totally free. It's on YouTube. You can go check it out. Resolve. I'm just putting it in the chat. It's totally free. And it's the paid version is the industry standard for a lot of video editing.
There's also Adobe Premiere that's also a little bit more advanced and expensive. I think they charge you monthly or annually. So that's something to consider. Also, if, you know, let's say you're the face of the company and you need to be on camera, then maybe have someone else do the editing. You can have an intern or an assistant take that on, so you don't have to be the one sitting there on your phone or computer dealing with that for a long
And there's
time.
also a lot of freelancers on Fiverr, on Upwork, where you can get some quality services for relatively cheap if you want to outsource that.
Thank you, Natalia and Emery. Amazing presentation, a lot of good information. What I'd like to do next is just to give everybody a chance to do sort of a little bit of meet and greet. So I'm going to break up into breakout rooms for about 5 minutes or so. And what I'd do is like to you know, say your name, what your occupation is, what services you provide, and then what insight you received today, and maybe what action or takeaway you want to follow up from today's presentation. So let me shift you off into those rooms, then we'll come back and wrap up for the day. We're getting everyone coming back. Natalia and Emery, do you have any final comment or word to share with the group?
Yes, actually, we were just in a breakout group, and an easy way of just kind of getting started. I'm sure a lot of people are creating blog posts for their websites, for their company,
on LinkedIn,
or post text on LinkedIn. If you've already put the thought into creating those, that can very easily be turned into video content. You just basically have already done the hard work of like thinking about what you're going to say and putting down that information. So if you just, you know, record that, then you can piece that together, cut it down, and immediately you can have 15 to 20 pieces of content just stemming from that one blog post.
And something important to mention too is that if you're posting on TikTok or Reels or YouTube, it's going to be reaching a new audience. So don't worry if your followers have already seen that, you know, they've seen it in a written form. You're going to reach a lot more people and different people by putting it out on video. So that we just wanted to throw that in there after our great conversation in the breakout room. And oh, so someone in the chat wants to put TikTok accounts. So feel free to do that. And also we can put our contact information. And if you would like, you know, a download of this PDF, we can send that out to you, or, you know, just reach out to us and we'll be happy to share that.
Yeah, if you just want to put your contact information in the chat, that would be great. And again, thank you both for really awesome presentation. I think you covered everything for people that don't know anything, people that know a little, and people that know a lot. I think you gave a good overview of that. So we want to thank you for your time and all the work you put into this. Thank you everyone for attending. It's always great to see familiar faces and new faces. Just a update, the next Lunch and Learn will be on April 18th. And we have Dr. Steve Iacovelli, who's actually known also as the Gay Leadership Dude. And he'll be presenting on the top 3 strategies to be resilient and change. And I've gone through a few of his presentations before, and they're fun, they're exciting. He's a great presenter. He was actually one of the Biz Pitch winners as a certified business. He comes to us from Orlando, but he's also part of the New York chapter as well. So that's why we're bringing him in. And again, that's April 18th from 12 to 1. Make sure you register for that, have other people register and attend. And again, I really thank you for joining us. Hope you're enjoying these series, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. I'll stick around for any final comments, but with that, you've got like a minute left to enjoy lunch before 1 o'clock. So enjoy your day and have a great weekend coming up.
Thank you so much. This was so valuable. Really appreciate your time in putting this together.
Thank you, SJ.
Thank you so
you.
much.